Welcome to Feng Shui Living, the podcast designed for busy women who want to de-stress, live with intention, and create a home that truly supports their well-being. Each week, I'll bring you practical tips, insightful ideas, and simple strategies to enhance both your home and your life. Let's get started. Welcome to Feng Shui Living. I'm your host, Lisa Morton. Today we're chatting with someone that I just really admire. She's one of those people doing amazing things in the interior design world, and that is Betsy Helmuth. Welcome to Feng Shui Living, Betsy.
Lisa, thank you so much for having me. You were on my podcast and you were a revelation. I hung up from our call and I know a little bit about Feng Shui, but you had so many new insights. I was so inspired by your appearance on my show that I dropped all my activities in the afternoon. I had like stuff going on, plans. I'd got it all time blocked of the projects I was going to work on. And I dropped everything to go clean out my entryway and to wash off my front door. Literally just go outside with paper towels and wash it off.
And how did you feel?
Amazing.
Did you feel renewal, like just
yes,
opening and refreshed, and
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just so excited to be inspired today. And I put nothing on the calendar after our conversation so that I can do all the Feng Shui.
Oh. Well, if I remember correctly, part of our conversation, we just couldn't stop talking. Both of us were like, we have to get on with our day.
That's right. That was a part of it too. But I'm excited for that part. And if I have to re-clean my entryway, I'm excited for it all.
Oh my gosh. Well, tell all the listeners a little bit about yourself.
So I'm an interior designer. I've been working in the field for nearly 2 decades, my 20th year this year. I've taken literally thousands of clients because we do quick turnaround packages, keeping the projects really affordable for people, keeping the transformations really manageable. And it's very fun. No day is like the one before. I primarily work in New York City, but also in its suburbs. I happen to live in a suburb in Connecticut. So I keep busy managing my firm. I also have a podcast called Affordable Interior Design where I answer listener questions. And then I have 3 kids and a dog and a cat and a husband.
And I don't know how you do it all.
I'm not bored. I'm not bored, Lisa. Let's just
like
put it that way.
I'm like one of those always going, but you're really always going.
There's always something I could be doing, even if I choose maybe to sit on the couch and watch reality TV.
Okay. So what's your guilty pleasure with TV?
Oh my gosh. Well, my favorite show, like my kids know not to bug me on Tuesday nights. The family room is closed for business. Like I'm not going to make you dinner or answer any questions. And that is Married at First Sight.
I knew I loved you.
Do you love Married at First Sight? I am.
One minute I'm like cringing, the next minute I'm crying.
Yes, all of it.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
Who's your favorite psychologist on there?
I mean, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
she's like the OG, and she just has that vibe about her. I just love her to pieces.
Even though, what's the guy's name?
Pastor Cal.
Yes, he's growing on me.
Yes.
Like, I'm a big fan. But the OG Dr. Pepper cannot be beat. And that is, again, why we like each other so much, Lisa.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so real quick, how did you get into design? How did you get inspired to go into this field?
Well, that's a perfect segue because I got inspired by watching TV. So 20 years ago, I was watching Trading Spaces, While You Were Out. That stuff was on like TLC, but they were those quick transformations that were super affordable. You had a tight budget, you had a tight deadline, tons of creativity, tailoring it to the client's preferences. Mm-hmm. They like football, they like moss, they like, whatever. And then really learning them and working with them to create this major reveal. So it's really funny because I was just watching TV and became inspired by the shows I was seeing and the transformations with people who kind of like looked like people in my neighborhood and looked like people I'd grown up with, not just, back in the day, high-end clients or people who had a lot of money, that it could really be accessible for lots of different people. So that kind of got me excited, but I had no education in interior design. So I literally wrote an email to someone from TV, Tom Felicia from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I wrote him and was like, I don't have any experience, but I would love to help you. Do you need any help?
Oh my gosh.
And they called me in for an interview just a couple days later. I interviewed. I was a painter, so I had like my painting portfolio from college
Okay.
because I was 23 at the time. So I showed them my painting portfolio, showed them some projects I was working on, but I didn't have any interior design background. I mean, I hadn't even like bought a bed for myself at this point. I was sleeping on the floor on an egg crate. Uh, so I didn't know the first thing about furniture. I didn't have a dresser even. I had those plastic drawers. Does that count as a dresser? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I lived in a 50 square foot apartment.
Wow.
50.
Wow.
Which is a broom closet that was converted into an apartment in Times Square. So anyway, I had literally no experience and I did not know a sconce from a scone, but they hired me because I would work for free. I was interning for free for a year at his high-end firm. So we were working for the luxury clients and things like that. And I was in the world, right? Watching the other designers who did have experience, seeing what they were doing every day, learning hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't relate to those clients in the Hamptons or in penthouses in Tribeca. So when I left after a year, I don't know what gave me the chutzpah to say, even with no education, I think I can run my own firm. That's something
so
that occurs to you
brave.
only in your 20s, right? Only in your 20s are you like, who needs education or a background or even experience in the field? Let's do this.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really how I got my start.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a good story. I was not expecting that story.
It all comes back to TV, and I still love to watch TV.
Oh my gosh.
I don't watch reality interior design shows anymore
Mm-hmm.
because I do it every day for work. But,
I get that. It's like shopping. Yeah. Like I don't want to shop anymore and look for anything, right? I don't even like to go shoe shopping for myself because I spent all those years shopping for my clients and getting things and ordering things and catalogs and all that. But that's really interesting. You know, I want to dive deeper. You had mentioned some of these real high-end clients, and that is something that I struggled with when I did aircraft interiors. You know, these like there's no such thing as a budget, whatever they could dream up they wanted. But I can't help but feel that it's the more moderate jobs that really have a lot of heart in them, right? When you agree, I mean, they really care about their space. They, you know, I remember doing aircraft interiors and it was just make my plane better than my brother's.
Oh my
let's have some
gosh.
heart in this, right? They're taking their very hard-earned money and want to create a space that they love, right?
That's right.
Something
The
I always
stakes
go ahead.
are higher.
Yeah.
You know, because their resources are more limited. And also, they're not jetting off to their third house when their first house is like annoying them or they're just not feeling the vibe. This is the only space that they can retreat to at the end of the day.
I love that.
So the stakes are just high and they really care and they're really grateful, which is something that I found was kind of missing with the other clients who felt rather entitled to the service or entitled to the best of the best because there was no budget. So find me something that impresses me. I've seen everything in the world. It was like, you know, dance for your supper. Whereas these other people, when you find something that fits their budget, something that they didn't think that they could have, or something that really brings together a vision that they couldn't see, there's just this level of gratitude, appreciation. It really changes their lives.
Definitely.
Which is something I wasn't feeling with the high-end clientele. Whether they worked with me or if they worked with Tom or if they worked with whatever, their life would not be deeply impacted if they selected us to be their designer. They could find somebody else.
I love that.
With my affordable clientele, there was nobody else within their budget to call.
Yeah, you're the person, but you're also the person that can do that, right? You have that. Like I always tell my Feng Shui clients, say, you know, they're looking for a water element, right? We're trying to find a water element for their living room. Shop your home. You probably have a blue throw pillow in a back closet or in a basement storage area, right? We have a lot of stuff floating around our homes. Do you have any tips for anyone looking to, you know, zhuzh up their space, like on a budget? Like what are a couple quick things you'd tell someone to save?
Well, you know, to save.
Yeah.
Like to always keep with you or to save on?
How to save money. Yeah. Tips, things you invest in that are, you know, like I always tell people, here's my little thing is those little accent tables. Like pop into Home Goods and snag a cute little accent table. It's going to slide in between a couple chairs. Nobody's going to see it. It's cute. It serves a purpose. Is it a family heirloom? No.
Right.
But that's a way you can save. Do you have anything like that?
Definitely. I mean, rugs are a fabulous way to save. There are so many affordable rugs.
Okay.
And they don't have to be poor quality or polypropylene. There's lots of affordable wool rugs and cotton rugs. So that's an area in which I really don't think people have to spend what they used to have to spend.
Okay.
People used to hear buy a rug and they were thinking thousands of dollars. And you can get a really great rug for hundreds of dollars. And if you're like me with kids and pets, and plus I'm prone to spilling sometimes, rugs are not a place where I want to invest. Like one accident with my senior dog, and the rug is compromised for a lifetime.
Sure.
And that's just, I want to have a place that looks nice, but you don't have to splurge on that piece.
Nice.
Now, a place I do think you need to splurge, anything with drawers. If you're
Okay.
going to be in and out of those drawers every day, whether it's a desk or whether it's a dresser or chest, if it's really going to be something that you're opening and shutting on the regular, you need to invest a little bit of money to get those mechanisms to work nicely, to ensure that it closes beautifully, that kind of thing.
I love
But
that.
drapes are another great place to save. Textiles in general,
Mhm.
pillows, you can find so many options, whether you mentioned like Home Goods or TJ Maxx, but also online. I don't
Mhm.
mind buying something like a pillow online and just risking it, not having seen it in person. It's such a small risk to be taking,
Sure.
and you open yourself up to a lot more variety.
Mhm.
So I will buy pillows from Wayfair, Target, Ballard Designs. I'm really just kind of searching for that perfect pattern, texture, look.
I love it.
So I'll Google like coral linen pillow.
Okay.
And wherever it pops up, I'm willing to kind of take the risk and buy from there.
Ooh, I like that. Well, gutsy. See, I get fearful.
Well, it's such a small
It is.
risk. Roll
Yeah.
the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get that linen pillow off Etsy. Let's do this thing.
Ooh, I love Etsy. Etsy's so
Yeah.
fun. And I love supporting those people.
Me too.
It's so fun.
Me
Oh my
too.
gosh. Okay, we have to move on to the next topic, which I'm
Ready.
kind of low-key obsessed, and that's your podcast.
Oh, you're so
Oh my
sweet.
gosh. And I'll be honest, though, I'm not one of those, I don't listen in order.
Yeah.
Because you have so many past podcasts from before I listened to you. I'm like bopping around.
Bopping around is key because there are over 400 episodes.
Oh my
And I used
gosh.
to number the episodes at the
Mhm.
beginning, but then I found that people did think they had to start at one, and that's absolutely not the case.
Mhm.
So when I'm discussing a concept that I've talked about before, I'll give a little primer on it, or I'll kind of get people up to speed. But also the trends change.
Yes.
What I'm thinking changes. So all those old podcasts do have some timeless treasures, don't get me wrong. But the current episodes are really exciting because it's what styles are in right now,
Mhm.
what people are thinking about and working on right now.
Yeah.
What's out, what's in. Let's talk about it in, real time.
I love that. Well, and you also do what I love is a Q&A because you have people write in with their questions and you answer them, right? It's really easy. You give solid advice. It is rug sizes. It is, how to balance color, window treatment advice. And then there was one about tricky layouts that I recently listened
Oh,
to.
yeah.
It's such good, solid advice. So do you have like a common question that you get asked all the time?
Floor plans are a big one,
Okay.
but I would say more common than even the layout is people sending me pictures of the room and saying, what's missing? I feel like it has all the functions, it's got the couch, it's got the TV, got the dining table, everything's like in there, but something's missing. It just doesn't feel complete.
Okay.
And so they'll sort of have me assess their room in general and say, let's put a bigger piece of art above the couch. We need to go for this size, hung at this height, right?
Mhm.
Just kind of getting in there and filling in the blanks in
Mhm.
spaces that feel like they're almost there, but not fully across the finish line. And they can't figure out like, what's the missing link?
Sure. Well, it's so easy, I think, for myself included in my own home. Sometimes I get frozen. I'm so used to seeing it, right? I should send you pictures of my house. I need some help.
I want to see it. I would be happy to help. Well, I love it because it's hard to get perspective in your own home.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when it's your money you're spending.
Mhm.
So there may be some hesitation to spend on something, or, you may be really desperate to use an heirloom piece that you have, even if it doesn't quite work.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if, you feel like it's blocking some kind of energy and you can't sense what. So
Sure.
having somebody with outside eyes almost give you permission to make a change.
I love that.
That heirloom
Yeah.
piece is not working.
Yeah.
Is there another room? Is there another space? Could you give it to your brother? Would he appreciate it just as much? But getting that permission
Mm-hmm.
and also getting that to-do list from someone. Okay, so I really do have to do this now.
I love
If
that.
Betsy said, if an expert that I reached out to said, it's time to make that change, hold myself accountable.
That's
Because I
great.
do also ask them to update me, like let me know what happens, and then I share with all the listeners.
That's amazing. I'd love that
Yeah.
you do that. So, wow. So, I will put links in the show notes to your podcast because everyone has to go check it out. It's well done, great topics. And you recently talked in, oh my gosh, maybe November about interior design training.
Yeah.
Which is where we're going to go next. You, as I said, you do all these amazing things and you do them all so well. Like, I just want to be you,
Oh,
Betsy.
well, you are so kind. So right back at you. Right back at you.
Let's
I
talk
was so
Uploft.
inspired. What was that?
Let's talk Uploft Interior Design Academy.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. Yeah. So, I have this academy where I teach people to be interior designers, and people remember my story from earlier in the episode. And they're like, Betsy, how are you teaching people when you never went to school? Right? You never got a degree in interior design. So what's going on?
Mhm.
Well, first of all, I can share that over 2 decades, I learned from the School of Hard Knocks. So I was desperate to learn whether I was taking notes while watching Trading Spaces or then reading books or learning from Tom Felicia and his designers. And then later I would take them out to lunch and even drive them to the Hamptons to ask them questions. Yeah, I was like a
That's
personal
good.
chauffeur, but in trade, I would ask them questions all along the 3-hour drive
That's
about
amazing.
my particular clients. And so I cobbled together a methodology, but then I started getting really busy. So I
Okay.
launched my own firm at 25. I was super busy almost immediately. And then I was taking 6 clients a week. And I realized that I needed to slow down because I got married and got pregnant. And so I decided to hire someone,
Okay.
my first hire, to be the designer in my place while I was taking a brief maternity leave.
Scary.
Yeah, scary, but exciting. Like
Sure.
I couldn't do it anymore. It was big as
Yeah.
a house.
Oh.
And the phone would not stop ringing, which is a
Okay.
great problem to have. But people did not want to wait 3 months for me to return.
Okay.
So I hired this gal. She'd been out of school. She'd done 2 years of her own her own education, and had been working at a company as an interior designer.
Okay.
I had her shadow me for a couple of weeks because I wanted to make sure she could do the job.
Okay.
I felt really comfortable with her background and was so excited that she'd been to school because maybe I could learn a thing or two from her.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was shadowing me and I would say, I'm going to talk to the client about this questionnaire, would you measure the room? She did not know how to measure a room.
Oh.
Now, she had an interior design degree. And I could not let her loose in a living room with a measuring tape without micromanaging her. And because school had given her so much theoretical and historical context, but no practical education, she also didn't know the sizes of rugs to be measuring for.
Okay.
She didn't know how to measure for blinds or drapes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like these simplistic things that you definitely need on the job, she was learning theoretically. Like the portfolio she presented to me when she interviewed was a biodome in Arizona. There were no real clients, and the biodome was not really going to be built.
Sure.
It was all theoretical with solar panels and all these things that are nice to know about, but will not actually help contemporary residential clients in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
So I quickly learned after training a few other people who'd been to school, create a program internally.
Ooh, okay.
So that they would know everything that they need. They would have the standard rug sizes memorized. They would know how big walkways need to be in order for people to have enough room to move about.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of build this program. And I worked with one of my designers who'd been working with me. She's now been with me for a decade, but she'd been to interior design school as well as architecture school.
Ooh, okay.
So she paired with me and we made a 10-week robust program for people who want to basically do their own thing, manage their own client load, but they don't know interior design and they need that confidence to walk in and have the tools and the education, but they don't want to go back to university.
Sure.
Maybe it's a second career, or maybe they're just not ready to invest in another degree.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I can tell you firsthand that getting other degrees or getting other certificates may not enable you to take clients. It may not give you the tools or confidence you need to actually step into a room with the person
Mm-hmm.
and say, let me show you what you need.
Wow. I love this. I mean, I have a very non-traditional, I went to school for communications, realized I did not want to do that. Realized I was not happy. Yet full circle here and I'm doing a podcast. But back in the day, I did not want to do that and went back to school and got an associate and a 2-year degree in interior design. And I always say, I always feel like interior design is more like a trade. I mean, you learn so much working under other designers, working with other designers, with other trades, with, the woodworkers, with the plumbers. Like,
Yes,
get under the sink and learn how they're doing something, and you will learn how to design it better, right?
that's right. That's right. And, you know, school doesn't necessarily give you those on the job opportunities. It's
Mhm.
because I was willing to work for free for a year, which most
Yeah.
people do not have the luxury of, right? I worked at
Mhm.
night as a bartender, and during the day, I mean, when did I sleep? I'm not sure. But from 9 to 4, I worked at Tom Felicia. And from like 8 to 4 a.m., I worked as a bartender in Manhattan. And then I do it all over the next day. So that's something that's really not going to fit most people's lifestyle.
Sure.
And so, how do you get that education that gives you just enough confidence to take clients, work with them? Because there's so much you can learn.
Mhm.
Lisa, the more you get into this industry, the more you realize, oh my gosh, I want to know the history of the Queen Anne chair. I want to know all about chenille fabric and what kind of rub it is and everything like that.
Mhm.
But what do you really need? What are those basics that you absolutely must have to work with a client?
Mhm.
And then if there's still stuff you're curious about, keep taking those courses. Keep
Mhm.
chasing your curiosity and learning more about low VOC paint instead of just paint and the
Sure.
finishes you need, right?
Sure.
There's lots of rabbit holes to go
Gosh.
down, but when you start going down rabbit holes in hopes that it will give you confidence,
Mhm.
you're not always getting to the right place.
Mhm.
So people heard me talk about my experiences training people on my podcast. So I was literally just talking about, oh my gosh, I can't believe we walked in this room, so I've got her going through my course and blah, 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 blah. So they were hearing this and they were writing to me and saying, Betsy, I can't possibly work for you. I live in Idaho. Can you teach me?
I love
And I
it.
was like, well, I don't know. So basically, I put out there, I said, you guys have been writing me and saying you want to learn. If I make a course for you that is the entire course I teach my students, which had like homework and quizzes and all this stuff, if
Wow.
I put it on videos for you because I taught it in person for the
Mhm.
people who work for me, will you sign up? And here's the button to pay. If you pay today and I get 20 people, I will build the course. And if I don't, I won't. Because it took me 4 months to
Okay.
build this course of nonstop
Wow.
course building. I mean, there's like, I don't know how many videos,
How
100
amazing,
videos.
though. I
Yeah.
love that you did this, and I have shared it with so many people because I know a lot of people, I'm early to mid 40s, and I know a lot of people that
Yes.
are, their kids are in school enough that they can have their own time. They maybe want a second career. They're ready to leave corporate and start their own thing. They've always been creative, but they need those basic skills and understand, those basic principles and elements of design, right? Understanding color, how to spec out color, how to measure for a rug, how to properly measure, right? They
Yep.
need those things. And I think it is brilliant.
Well, and the thing that I think you can attest to too, coming from communications, is no matter what you did before,
Mm-hmm.
even if it was not design related at all, if it was accounting, if it was being a yoga teacher, if it was whatever, those skills can directly help you in a service based business. If you're an accountant, you know how to work spreadsheets, you'll know how
Yep.
to invoice, you'll know how to reconcile your sales tax. If you're a yoga teacher, you'll know how to change your energy to meet other people, to connect with your clients on a deeper, more energetic level. I really found being a bartender allowed me to adapt to different personalities really well.
Nice. Nice.
And so I could talk to them in a way that I knew was kind of speaking to them rather than them having to adapt to my energy.
Okay. I
Because when
love
somebody
that.
comes up to the bar, whether they're, belligerent or excited or having a birthday party or just want to get their drinks so they can get back to the pool table, you have to adapt to that energy if you want to get your dollar tip.
Sure. Sure.
And so it taught me to really assess people quickly,
Okay.
Like, is this person too drunk for me to serve? Is this person too belligerent for me to work with? Right. So no matter what your previous experience is, there are a lot of ways to tie it to this second career.
I love that.
And don't think of it as a waste of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like you wound up finding your way back to communications through a podcast. It's the same idea,
Yeah.
right? That you can just apply those skills to your new passion.
So how does this training work? Is it ongoing, or does it like have a starting date? It's a class together. How does it work?
So it's a 10-week online course, but
Okay.
people can take it at their own pace.
Okay.
And unlike most programs, they do not lose access. So most programs, you're in it for 6 months and then bye-bye, right? You
Mhm.
lose access to the modules. I want this to be a library that you can go back to time and time again. When you forget the appropriate size of a pillow
Nice.
for a sectional, you just pop back in and watch the 3-minute video. When you're working with a client and you forgot what's the preferred type of blind style for their design style, you just pop back into that video and spend 5 minutes. So
Brilliant.
this is a constant reference for you
Maybe
versus
you
just
need
a
to make this
one-time
for
only.
all designers, because I know I could brush up on a few things once in a while.
Now it is robust. You can take weeks off because you have lifetime access. So you
Okay.
don't have to just drill down for 10 weeks,
Yeah.
but it gets into the nitty gritty, unlike my
Wow.
podcast,
Okay.
which stays
Okay.
pretty light and fun and is good for hobbyists as well.
Sure.
So, but even just opening up the modules where you feel less strong, right?
Interesting.
Whether it's measuring a room or whether it's accessorizing,
Okay.
which challenged me as a new designer. I was really excited about the big pieces, but how do I put the bow on top? How do I make
Okay.
it look fabulous? Or creating a mood board that will wow your clients. So I do think it's great for everyone. And it is everything that I use in my own life,
That's
because with
good.
my designers, we're training a new designer in DC right now. This is the program we send them now. Luckily, I do not have to teach it in person because
You
it
don't
was
have
a
time to
lot.
teach it in person.
It was a lot. Oh my gosh. So having these on video has turned out to be a blessing internally as well as externally. But it's just like my philosophy about interior design. I'm giving away my program. I'm giving away the secrets of how I work,
Mm-hmm.
because I think everyone should be able to live their passion. Not only should you live in a place you love, no matter your budget, but I just think there's a lot of gatekeepers in interior design who
Mm-hmm.
try and get it to be very exclusive. If you don't join this membership, if you don't have this, whatever. And the reality is, you don't need that stuff. I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of high end designers who do not belong to the trade organizations,
Mm-hmm.
or most of the designers you watch on TV never went to interior design school. Like, Google it.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked when I
Really?
Googled my favorites from trading spaces and they didn't even have a design firm, let alone any background in education. I was like, what? You're just
Wow.
like on TV as a personality?
Huh.
You don't really know? Because I wound up working for one of my favorite trading spaces designers later in life. I'm writing a memoir all about it, Lisa. You'll have
Well,
to.
that's my next thing, but I think it's so that's my next topic. But I think it's so interesting too that, I have a lot of people that kind of come the other route. They're studying feng shui with me, and then they want to go deeper into interior spaces. They
Mm,
know feng shui now. Now they want to actually try designing. So I think this would be a great way for them to learn design. Learn
well,
all those nuts and
it's so
bolts.
funny because my students want to learn feng shui.
I
We need to talk offline.
think so.
Because it is a natural outgrowth and it is so interesting. And I don't touch on it too much in my program, maybe not even at all, because I do feel like a lot of education is needed in feng shui to really
Mhm.
present yourself as an expert. But it's such a great addition to your service offering. So if
Mhm.
you can say, I do interior design and feng shui, you're going to be that much more attractive to your target client, who is open to talking about energy,
I love
open to talking about these kinds of other ways to explore space.
Sure. And I just feel like that, I feel like feng shui, as well as affordable approaches to interior design, is the future. I think everything being
Mm.
glamorous and elaborate is not the future of design in any way.
And elite. Even
Mhm.
if you're willing to spend a little bit more, you can now access things that were never available on the retail market before.
Sure.
So if you want to spend a lot of money retail, you can. Whereas before, all those kind of higher end items were locked away for trade only.
Hmm.
And so I just feel like the landscape is changing so much that those kind of high end only designers are dinosaurs in many ways, holding on to something that the internet has allowed us to peek into and pry the door open. So we have to evolve as an industry with the technology that's happening.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, before we run out of time, we have to talk about your book because I've been hearing you talk about it. We chatted about it. I believe it's your memoir. This is book number 2.
Yes. So I have an interior design DIY book called Affordable Interior Design. Everything's called Affordable Interior Design. So you can just Google that. But that book is really good. And again, it's like my podcast where it stays kind of light and fun, but they are real tips that I use every single day. We get into it. In the academy, we get even deeper with like numbers you need to memorize, workbooks you need to, print out, etc. But then this new book is going to be a memoir. So it's going to focus on how I got into design because it was I got into interior design from watching TV, but also to get revenge. So I got burned by somebody and I wanted to get revenge. So I became an interior designer.
I love it.
That's what prompted me to reach out to Tom Felicia. I'm going to do that. Get revenge. So I get into that, but I've had a lot of snafus along the way. I worked for my favorite designer from Trading Spaces. I've been on HGTV and I've worked for a billionaire who wound up scamming me so much.
There's a story I recently heard you talk about, and it was your mom. And you're like, my mom I wish she was a receptionist or something.
Yes,
secretary. And she's like, she had a job. She was fine. She felt good about it, but she wasn't passionate. You always wanted to be passionate about your work. Yeah. I loved that.
She did that job for 45 years.
Yeah.
And she did a good job and was proud of the work that she did. But she hated going to work every day. She would complain about it at night. And I was like, and because we were so poor, she worked at night too to get overtime. So I would sleep under her desk. Wow. I would hear, constant droning of what she was doing. And I was like, this is a long time to be spending at something you don't really like. I just didn't want that to ever be my path. She couldn't always take off for us to do fun things. She wanted to have more kids, and her law firm was not open to letting us adopt because it would take too much time away from her. They were like, we're not going to give you overtime if you, blah, 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 blah. So she actually decided not to adopt more children because of her job. Just all these restrictions that can put limits on your own personal dreams. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm never going to miss my kid's soccer game. I'm never going to be told I can't show up at, book sale day and stand behind the table with an apron. I am going to be flexible and live my passion.
I love that. Oh, Betsy.
But I want to just put an asterisk on that because for everybody listening, we stand on the shoulders of the women before us. Because my mom did what she did, she saved money and gave me opportunities and told me I could be whoever I wanted. Without that piece, I wouldn't be here. So I think it's hard to say, look at me chasing my passion, look at her, she didn't, because those opportunities were not available to her. And she made those opportunities available to me, if not always financially, because we were very poor, emotionally. She wanted different for me, and she never told me not to chase my dreams. I said, I'm moving to New York City. I'm going to be an interior designer. I'd never taken class. She's like, you got this. Go for it. I mean, she was like, you have to pay and figure it out and good luck. But she never dissuaded me from chasing my dreams. So I know that I stand on her shoulders.
I bet she's so proud of you.
Yeah. But I think we can all see places in which we stand on the shoulders of other people, but also where we can kind of live dreams for them. What did they allow me to do and why am I not doing it? Yes. I just want to be really clear because it is a place of entitlement that I'm speaking from.
Okay.
Thanks to her sacrifice.
Wow.
But then we need to seize that opportunity.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So when does the book come out?
Well, I am working right now. We're pitching it to the Big Five in January. Nice. So it doesn't formally have the book deal yet, but I'm very confident that it will. And this is truly a tell-all. Like I am sharing all the
I can't wait to read. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Okay. Well, I know you have people working in your house. You're a busy mom. I want to get going, but I have one question. We're moving, it's early January. We're talking about projects. A lot of people are talking about remodeling, redecorating, construction projects they want to take on this year. So if you had 3 pieces of advice for someone taking on a project, what would that be?
The first one would be find inspiration images. You want to have a very clear vision going in of what you want it to look like. So that way you can have an easier time making selections, guiding the team, letting them know what your vision is. If you don't have an idea of what you want it to look like, it may wind up disappointing you.
Okay.
So whether you're getting images in a magazine, on TV, online, compile them in a Pinterest board or cut them out in a folder, whatever you want to do. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is, really relay that message to a team you trust. So you need a trustworthy team, whether you're going to design it on your own or whether you are hiring someone, you need to make sure that they understand your vision.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just the contractor. Even today, when I've got a handyman in at my house, I need to make sure he understands my vision. I need to be really clear. I need to show him the pictures of what I'm thinking or the sketch of what I'm expecting. So that communication is key. And then third, I'm very budget focused. I grew up poor and now I have more money, thank goodness, due to working hard in the business, etc. But even then I still have a budget.
Mm-hmm.
So be clear with everyone on your team what that budget looks like, because when you overspend or when you put it all on your credit cards, it can feel really bad and uncomfortable, even if the ultimate change is transformative and amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So having that budget, sharing it with everyone and knowing or leaning on the experts to tell you where to allocate it. Just like me saying, spend money on the dresser, but you don't have to spend money on the rug. Spend money on, whatever, the nightstands, but don't spend money on the headboard. I can get you a fabulous headboard at a great deal. Spend money on the central chandelier for that wow factor, but save on the table lamps. So having somebody who's on your side and who's really a pro can help you know where to invest that budget, but be really clear about what that number looks like.
Sounds like an overall theme of clarity. Like just get it really clear.
And the first step is clear with yourself and then communicating it clearly to whoever your team is. That's right.
I love that. So I'd add on to that one,
Yeah.
which I keep running into, is get clear on your expectations of how it's going to go. Things are always
like
messier timeline. Something comes in wrong. just be prepared for hiccups because hiccups happen sometimes, right? I feel like people think even with any designer, anyone working on a space, they're the expert. It's going to go, flawlessly. Not always. Things happen.
There's so many variables, and I would say things always happen. There's always a hiccup. I've worked on literally thousands of projects, and something comes broken and it's not available any longer, and what do we do, right? Yeah, I think my core business principle is expectations and agreements. This is our expectation of what we're going to get, and we all agree to it. This is our expectation of what we're going to do when things go wrong, and we all agree to it. Kind of getting that sign off that yes, we're on the same page.
Yeah, so on the same team in the end.
Yep. Yes.
Wow.
The team stays intact for the next project versus resentments growing or people being passive aggressive and never having shared what they were actually thinking or expecting.
Yes. Wow. So good. So where can people find you? Share all the places.
Think the podcast, obviously they're podcast lovers if they're listening to this. So I would recommend Affordable Interior Design, the podcast. Sending me questions. I love hearing what people are working on, and you'll kind of get a taste of what I'm working on with my clients because I still take design clients. Working on a veterinary office right now.
Ooh, very fun. I'm
going to take my cat in to get her teeth cleaned, and I'm going to have a design meeting all in the same trip.
I actually worked on a vet office years ago, like 10 years ago, and we repainted, redid some stuff, and it wasn't a huge project, just zhuzhing it up a bit, right? It was tired. And then our dog needed ACL surgery. After the surgery, medicine in hand, we walked out and I paid $200.
That's amazing.
So
that's amazing.
That was a good day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Wow. Well, good luck on the vet office. I want to have you back to talk more when your book comes out. I cannot wait to read all the juicy stories in it.
It is filled with heart-wrenching stories, including, It's been a lot. If you can imagine working in New York City and taking thousands of clients, I've worked with celebrities, regular people, hoarders, just everything,
Wow.
everything. And every experience has been so interesting.
And
Nobody
it's
in New
made
York
you who
City is
you
like
are. I think that's why you're such a genuine, like caring, you can tell you truly care about the it's not just a project, right? It's not just project, you know, Blue House or, well, I don't know if you have the titles for your projects, but
I want that to be the name of my book, Project Blue House. I like it.
You're so funny. Oh,
But
wow.
yes, you're exactly right. I mean, I think changing people's lives is the only reason I do this. Sure, I love interior design. I love pillows. I still love shopping. Lisa, I still love it.
Ugh.
But I really know that the work I do dramatically and transforms my clients' lives. And that's what makes it worth it every single day, 19 and a half years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I will put all of Betsy's contact info and links to her podcast because you have to go listen. Maybe I'll find some of my favorite episodes and link those. Just good
Oh,
places to
I would
start
love
out.
that.
If you want to check out the Uploft Interior Design Academy, I'll put a link for that. So many good things. Betsy, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. And the first episode they must check out is the episode of you on my
Oh,
podcast, which
yes.
was just so inspiring.
That
So
was
I hope
fun.
everybody listens. And I hope to have you on my show again very soon.
All right, Betsy, thank you again for joining me, everyone. I will see you soon. Take care. Are you ready to take your passion for helping people to a whole new level? Join my spring 2025 Feng Shui certification course. This journey kicks off in late March online with the online portion. Then we'll move into the immersive retreat experience held near my home in early May. It's beautiful and it's set in a nature-filled, peaceful, serene retreat space. This course is perfect if you're a coach looking to grow, whether you're a career, life, or health coach, if you're an interior designer, if you're a professional organizer, real estate professional, or just anyone who loves to really, truly help people. You will learn to master the art of Feng Shui and use it to create spaces that support well-being, also inspire success and joy. Don't miss this chance to elevate your skills and make a real impact. Visit elevatedlivingschool.com for more info and to reserve your spot. Special thanks to our sponsor, Elevated Living School of Holistic Design and Feng Shui. For more information, head over to the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and share this episode with a friend. We'll see you next time.